Hi guys, my name is Mary Nutting and I'm co-owner of Strategic Talent Partners. Wow, May 10th, it would have been 15 years of CorTalent's journey, and I'm just blown away that it has been literally 15 years. I still remember the day that I was signing papers and coming up with the name, and I would be remiss not to talk about my early business partner, Alyssa Henriksen. We started CorTalent together, and she has since gone off to have her own search firm that is very successful. But we experienced incredible growth. I think we hit $1 million our second year in business. And, Alyssa and I knew that we wanted to be more than just a search firm. And so, even in those early years, while we provided excellent search services, we were always going above and beyond. And that, helping our clients, really not only find the right talent, but to put tools and processes in place to ultimately retain that talent through their growth. I went on to manage and lead CorTalent alone for 10 years. And I say alone because my name solely was on, the financial documents and business ownership documents. But, I had so many people in my corner that I looked to that were mentors and partners that really helped me along the way. And really it boiled down to just having an incredibly awesome team of people. I'm probably most proud. Well, there's two things that I'm most proud of during the CorTalent, tenure. One would be that I got to watch some incredible employees and friends grow in their career. One of those individuals is still with us today. So that's been over 10 years. And that was, incredibly fulfilling and continues to be so. But I'm also really proud of the fact that we still have some of those early clients that we signed on back in 2010 who we still work with today. I didn't set out to become a business owner, but for most of my career, I have led people. And, at the end of the day, the people are what makes a company. I came from a very technical background where I managed up to 30 developers, technology developers. I did not know how to program, but I found that I was able to support those individuals, remove barriers, communicate changes that were happening inside the organization, and ultimately just be there to help them do their jobs. And, I carried that with me when I started CorTalent, and that really became my role as an owner and as a leader of the organization. Values have always played a critical part in the companies that I've owned and I've led. I truly believe that companies that are built on core values hire for those core values, promote for those core values, and reinforce them, in everything that we do. And so that's just always been something that is incredibly important to me. Fast forward, to 2025, I am now part of Strategic Talent Partners. So I co-founded and co-own Strategic Talent Partners with Mike Frommelt, who was currently owner and CEO of Keystone Executive Search. And Mike and I had known each other for many years. He was actually the first person that I reached out to, even previous to CorTalent, probably, close to 30 years ago when I helped launch an executive search firm for a boutique talent management company. And I had asked around, who do you know in executive search that's the best? And Mike's name just kept coming up over and over. So I gave him a call, and we became fast friends and business partners, and have really helped each other in leading our companies ever since. Mike and I always joked around about potentially merging, probably over the last nearly 10 years. And, but we never really took it to that, next step until one day, Mike and I were just talking about our own future and our companies who we're both so proud of, and the talent that we both had in these respective organizations, and the fact that we would be eventually exiting. But then we started talking about some of the challenges of being a smaller company and, maybe having more limited opportunities for those individuals to continue to grow. And so we both knew that we wanted to continue to invest in that growth for our people. And I think we both kind of just looked at each other and came up with the idea together that, we would be better if we merged. We could bring our talent together. We could offer, that same exceptional service that each of us provided, but even more. Mike and I share the same personal core values. And I remember when we sat down and we said, oh, what are some of those things that we're just going to need to make sure are non-negotiables if we do this? And one was making sure that our values matched. And honestly, when we started going through each of our core values, there were so many similarities. I mean, we were just kind of using some different words, but they were virtually the same. Our company sizes were virtually the same. We worked with the same clientele, privately held companies running on EOS, and companies that are part of an ESOP. And the more we talked, the more we just felt like, we need to do this. This is a no-brainer. It still took over 6 months, to really get to that point where we're like, okay, we're ready for this. And I think, obviously there were some early challenges. I think a merger is always, a little harder than you think, even if you're very similar in terms of, the organizations. There are always challenges, but, throughout it all, Mike and I just kept thinking of the outcome. We're going to be better together. We're going to be stronger. We're going to be able to grow faster. And ultimately, we're going to be able to serve our clients in just a better, more awesome way. And so, we went through that merger, and it's been just over a year. So again, reflecting back on 15 years of CorTalent, and now, one whole year of STP, it's pretty incredible. I mentioned that early on, I had always wanted to be more than just a search firm. And with Mike and I joining forces and bringing, our individual, leadership solution services together, we've been able to create something really unique. And that really is, when we come into an organization, our first, question isn't necessarily, who do you need from the outside? It is, how are you growing? How fast are you growing? What is that going to look like? And do you have existing leaders that might be capable of being developed into these future roles? And so for every search that we take on, we ask those questions. And so, we really believe that business owners, just like ourselves, need to be continuously developing their own people, as well as, identifying those gaps early on where you might need to bring talent in from the outside. So Mike and I have a phenomenal leadership team that shares our core values. They share our mission and our vision of helping business owners reach their growth goals through their leaders. And what's so exciting is that every person in our company is committed to this. So, I'm super excited. I know that STP will live on beyond Mike and I, but we're going to enjoy these next few years and continue this ride. And hopefully I will be able to look back, Mike and I both, on the 15-year anniversary of STP. So thank you for all of you out there who have been in my corner, who've been in Mike's corner, who are now, rooting STP on. Our friends, our families, our clients, our business colleagues, our partners. We just couldn't do this without you. So thank you.